This video will walk you through the setup of the Bleep test and the standard structure for playing a session. Your game should include one board representing a fictional major trauma centre, 4 black doctor miniatures, 1 red time marker, 72 Bleep cards, 36 SHTF cards, a D5, D10 and D20 dice. 1 rulebook, as well as 4 double-sided player aid cards. To set up, you'll need to open up the board and place it flat. Put 3 doctor counters in the corridor and 1 in the consultant on call space in the corner of the board. Place the red time marker at 8 o'clock in the evening. Shuffle the Bleep cards and place them in the green deck area. You'll need to remove the 2 blank cards. You'll also need to shuffle the SHTF cards and place them in the pink deck area, removing the 6 blank cards. Place dice and player aids nearby within easy access to the players. The 2 main limitations within the game are 1. The number of available doctors, and 2. The capacity of locations on the board. You'll need 1 doctor per active case, and each case must also be assigned an appropriate location. Some theatres, like C-Pod, have a limited capacity. For example, C-Pod has only 2 theatres, so only 2 cases can ever be run there concurrently. In other areas, like A&E, critical care and labour ward, they have a flexible capacity. These are marked with double shadowed boxes, meaning you can run as many cases there as you like, providing you have a doctor for each one. Play happens in sequential turns, each turn being represented by a fictional hour. Each turn, the learners will have to decide how they're going to prioritise the clinical pressures within the given resources and knowledge that they have available. Bleep cards have various anaesthetic cases on them. Learners receive 1 to 5 cases each turn, depending on a dice roll. SHTF cards are events that represent emergencies that can happen during an anaesthetic. These are added to ongoing anaesthetic cases. In order to start and run an anaesthetic case, there must be A. an available doctor, and B. sufficient theatre space. If there are no doctors free, then you can't start a case, however many theatres are available. And if there aren't any theatres space available, then you can't run a theatre case, however many doctors you have available. The doctor in the consultant and call space can be called in at any time to come in. If called in, the consultant doctor piece is placed in the red car and will come into play at the start of the following turn. Each turn has a specific order of play. However, in the first hour of the new game, there won't be any cards in play and therefore no anaesthetic cases ongoing. This means the first round of a new game starts at order of play point 4. Point 4. Roll a D5 and draw that number of Bleep cards. Point 5. Start the new cases. So if the doctor is available, then a learner can choose to play a card onto an appropriate game board card space. Please see each of the cards to indicate the area that the card should be played in. This is also facilitated by the colour of each of the cards. Then, immediately roll the D10 to see if the case is cancelled. The aim of this dice roll is to represent the fact that most trainees will appreciate having been to an epidural where the patient has already delivered, or gone to see a patient who's been listed for a laparotomy, but their bowels have opened, and therefore it is not surgically indicated anymore. If the case is not cancelled, then you place a doctor on the top of the Bleep card. You've got to place the doctor and the number of the Bleep card that corresponds to the number of hours that the case will go on for. This helps you keep track of how many hours are left for the case to go on. So if a case is going to take 2 hours, then you put them on the number 2 spot. Otherwise, if you're lucky and the case is cancelled, then you can discard the Bleep card. There's no need to place a doctor. You repeat this as many times as the learners are able to or want to. Not all doctors need to be tasked, and not all cases may be able to be started. Then it's the end of the hour, and we head back to point 1. 1. Move the clock onto the next hour marker. 2. You roll a d20 for each case in play sequentially. You indicate with your finger which card you're going to roll the d20 for, and roll the d20. If the roll activates an SHTF card, then you place the SHTF card onto the Bleep card that activated it. Then implement what it needs to be done. Number 3. Move each of the doctors for the ongoing anaesthetic cases onto the next hour marker on each of the anaesthetic Bleep cards in play. So for example, if the doctor's on hour 2, then you need to move the doctor onto the 1 hour marker. If the doctor goes from hour 1 to 0, 0 is back in the corridor, and you can retask that doctor this turn. Finally, discard completed Bleep cards. Now you'll find yourself back to point 4, and you're ready to roll the d5 and draw that number of Bleep cards again. Those new Bleep cards get added to your hand, and with your complete CPOD list, you have to prioritise which cases you'll need to do next. The game continues in hourly turns until 8 AM is reached, or the facilitator decides that the learning objectives have been achieved. You don't need to run the full 12 hours. Some sessions finish after just a few turns if the group discussion has covered enough ground. But the Bleep test isn't about winning. It's about recreating the practical challenges of prioritising under pressure, working as a team, and learning through reflection.